Sunday Night Football Week 5. Please make sure you subscribe, give this video a like, and always comment. Minnesota Vikings versus Cleveland Browns, team comparison. So we've got the Vikings going overseas for the second straight week, this time taking on the Browns. Minnesota comes in 2-2 after losing to the Steelers, and now they've got to deal with one of the best defenses in football. Cleveland has been nasty on defense, Myles Garrett leading that line, and they're giving up the fewest yards per play in the NFL. The Browns just made a quarterback switch too, benching Joe Flacco and rolling with rookie Dylan Gabriel. That gives them a different kind of energy. On the other side, Minnesota is dealing with injuries up front on the offensive line, and Carson Wentz hasn't exactly been lighting it up. So you've got two teams with strong defenses and shaky offenses. That's the setup here. Spread: Browns plus 3.5. The Vikings are negative 3.5 favorites, but I'm not laying points with them. Cleveland's defense is too good, and with Gabriel under center, I think they can keep this game tight. I'll take Browns plus 3.5. Total: under 36.5. This number is low, but it makes sense. Both teams are built on defense, and both offenses have been struggling. I see a grinded out type game. I'm going under 36.5. Moneyline, Vikings. Even though I like the Browns to cover, I'll take Minnesota on the money line. Cleveland just doesn't have enough offensive firepower right now, especially overseas. Vikings to win, but not by much. Player prop suggestions: TJ Hawkinson, over 3.5 receptions. He's been steady the past 2 weeks with 4 and 5 catches. With the Browns defense taking away big plays, Wentz is going to lean on his tight end underneath. Over 3.5 looks solid. Devin Bush, over 7 tackles plus assists. Bush has hit this number in 4 games already this season. He's been all over the field, and against a run-heavy Vikings team, he should rack up tackles again. Las Vegas Raiders versus Indianapolis Colts, team comparison. The Raiders are coming in at 1-3, while the Colts are 3-1 and looking sharp. Both teams lost close games last week, but Indianapolis has been the one showing real consistency. Daniel Jones has been a huge surprise for the Colts. Fans expected another bad year, but instead, he's averaging close to 270 yards a game with 7 touchdowns already. He's been carving up defenses, especially when teams try to blitz. And the Raiders? They're terrible against the blitz, ranking dead last in the league. Vegas hasn't been able to generate much pressure even though they blitz a lot, and defensively, they're bottom tier in stopping the pass. That's a bad recipe against a QB playing this well. Spread: Colts negative 6.5. I'm rolling with the Colts negative 6.5. The Raiders just don't have the defense to slow down Indy's passing game, and I think Jones keeps it rolling. Total: over 47.5. This feels like a high-scoring game. The Colts have been putting up points every week, and the Raiders, even if they're behind, will be forced to throw. The number is high, but I'm going with the over. Moneyline, Colts. Straightforward here. Indianapolis is the better team, they're at home, and Daniel Jones is in rhythm. Player prop suggestions: Jonathan Taylor, over 2.5 receptions. Last game he had 5 catches, and he's been more involved in the passing attack. With Jones spreading it around, Taylor should easily get a few dump-offs and hit this mark. Max Crosby, over 4.5 tackles plus assists. Even though the Raiders' defense has struggled, Crosby still shows up. He's hit this number in 3 straight games, and I expect him to be busy again trying to slow down the Colts' offense. New York Giants versus New Orleans Saints, team comparison. The Giants come in at 1-3. While the Saints are still winless at 0-4. Early in the week, New York opened as 1.5-point favorites, but that flipped, and now New Orleans is favored by 2 points. The Giants are dealing with the loss of Malik Nabers to a torn ACL, but Jackson Dart and Cam Scatabo stepped up last week in a win over the Chargers. The Giants' defense also showed signs of coming together, creating turnovers, and putting together a full game. The Saints, meanwhile, have allowed the 3rd most points per game in the league and also struggle to score, averaging just 16.5 points per game compared to New York's 18.3. That's why multiple predictions lean toward the Giants despite being listed as underdogs late in the week. Spread: Giants plus 2.5. Even with the line moving, I'll take the Giants with the points. The Saints are still searching for their first win, and New York feels like the more complete team right now. Total, under 40, 1.5. Both teams have had offensive issues, and the Giants are now without their top wideout. With the Saints ranking near the bottom offensively and defensively, this feels like a lower scoring matchup. I'll go under 41.5. Moneyline, Giants. On the moneyline, I'm going with the Giants. They're showing more progress than New Orleans and already proved last week they can close out games when their defense holds steady. Player prop suggestions. Jackson Dart, over 37.5 rushing yards. Dart ran wild against the Chargers last week, putting up 54 yards and a rushing touchdown. With Neighbors out, his legs become even more important. Over 37.5 rushing yards is live. Carl Granderson, over 0.5 sacks. Granderson has been producing consistently, with sacks in multiple games including last week against Buffalo. If Dart is running often, Granderson should get chances to bring him down. Dallas Cowboys versus New York Jets. Team comparison. The Cowboys come in at 1-1, while the Jets are sitting at 0-4, still searching for their first win of the season. New York has been close in most of their games, losing 3 times by 6 points or less. Odds makers actually think this could be their best shot to finally get a win, making them short home underdogs. The big focus here is Justin Fields. His legs are the engine of the Jets' offense, and when they build the playbook around him running, they look a lot better. He rushed for 81 yards and a touchdown last week against Miami, and earlier this season he had 2 rushing TDs against Pittsburgh. Dallas is solid up front, but their defense has struggled against quarterbacks who can run. If Fields gets loose, that opens everything else up for the Jets. Spread. Jets plus 1.5. I'm taking the Jets plus 1.5. They've been competitive, and with Fields healthy again, I think they keep this game close. Total, over 48.5. Both defenses have given up big plays, and Fields has been making things happen on the ground and through the air. Dallas also has receivers who can go off. Moneyline, Jets. This might be the week the Jets finally break through. They're at home, they've been close in so many games, and with Fields running wild, I'll take Jets on the moneyline. Player prop suggestions. Justin Fields, over 192.5 passing yards. He just threw for 226 yards against Miami, showing he's not just running but also pushing the ball downfield. Against Dallas's shaky secondary, I like him to clear this number. George Pickens, over 5.5 receptions. Pickens went off against the Packers last week with 8 catches, 134 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's getting a ton of targets and is clearly a go-to weapon. Over 5.5 receptions feels strong. Denver Broncos versus Philadelphia Eagles. Team comparison. The Broncos are sitting at 2-2 after shaking off back-to-back heartbreakers with a strong bounce-back win last week. They look much sharper and definitely play like a team with something to prove. On the other side, the Eagles are 4-0, but here's the thing, they've won all 4 games by just 1 score. They're not blowing teams out, but they keep pulling it off late. That's the type of clutch play Denver hasn't quite mastered yet, and that could be the difference here. Denver's defense needs to limit turnovers and mental mistakes, while Philly has been opportunistic in forcing those exact errors. If the Broncos can carry over their Monday night energy, this one could be closer than people think. Spread, Eagles negative 3.5. The Eagles have been closing out games strong, and with Jalen Hurts leading a balanced offense, I'm taking Philadelphia to cover negative 3.5 and handle business against Denver. Total, over 44.5. The Broncos offense showed signs of life last week, and the Eagles have enough playmakers to keep the scoreboard moving. I'm going with the over 44.5. Moneyline, Eagles. The Eagles are at home undefeated, and they know how to close out tight games. Until Denver proves they can win those one-score battles, I'll stick with Philly on the moneyline. Player prop suggestions. Saquon Barkley, over 2.5 receptions. He's been active in the passing game, catching 4 balls in each of his last 2 outings. With the Broncos defense focusing on limiting explosive runs, short passes to Barkley should keep him involved. J.K. Dobbins, over 53.5 rushing yards. Dobbins is coming off a 101-yard game, and he's cleared this number in 4 straight. Against an Eagles defense that's been shaky against the run, he has a strong chance to keep that streak going. Miami Dolphins versus Carolina Panthers. Team comparison. This should be a game Miami handles pretty easily. Even without Tyreek Hill, the Dolphins still have plenty of weapons to lean on. They finally picked up their first win last week and now look to build momentum against a Panthers team that, to be honest, hasn't looked too strong this season. Carolina sits at 1-3 and has struggled on both sides of the ball. Their quarterback play has been shaky, and the defense has been giving up a lot of ground production, especially against the run. Miami's run game looks primed to take advantage here, and this matchup feels heavily one-sided. Spread, Dolphins -1.5. I'm rolling with Miami here at -1.5. The line is tight, but the Dolphins are simply the better team, and even without Hill, they should have enough firepower to control this matchup. Total, over 44.5. I'm leaning over on this one. The Panthers defense has been vulnerable, and Miami has shown it can score in bunches. Even if Carolina chips in some points late, I still see this total going past 44.5. Moneyline, Dolphins. For me, the money line is Miami all day. The Panthers just don't match up well, and the Dolphins should be able to pull out their second straight win here. Player prop suggestions. Bryce Young, under 212.5 passing yards. He hasn't been consistent at all throwing the ball, and Miami's defense should be able to keep him in check. I'm going with the under on his passing yards. Darren Waller, over 29.5 receiving yards. The Panthers have been getting carved up by tight ends, ranking near the bottom of the league in catch percentage allowed. Waller found the end zone twice last week and should see plenty of looks again. Houston Texans versus Baltimore Ravens. Team comparison. This matchup flipped completely because of injuries. Baltimore was supposed to be heavy favorites, but with Lamar Jackson out and multiple starters banged up, the Texans come in favored. The Ravens are rolling with a backup QB, and they've got holes everywhere on defense, missing guys at all 3 levels, from linebackers to corners to safeties. That's tough to overcome. Spread, Texans -1.5. I'm taking the Texans -1.5. With the Ravens' injuries and no Lamar, it's just hard to back them. Houston's defense is strong enough to control this game, and their offense is steady enough to cover. Total, under 40.5. I'm leaning under here. The Ravens' offense without Lamar is limited, and Houston's defense is built to slow teams down. Even with the total sitting in the low 40s, I see this as more of a grinded out type of game. Moneyline, Texans. This one's straightforward. Houston has the healthier roster, the better defense right now, and they're not dealing with the chaos Baltimore has. Texans on the money line. Player prop suggestions. Derrick Henry, over 4.5 receiving yards. Baltimore needs to start trusting him again. Just one short catch can clear this number, and with the way their offense looks right now, he should be a safety valve. Nick Chubb, over 36.5 rushing yards. He's cleared this number in 4 straight games. Houston's been using him consistently, and with the run game picking up last week, I like him to hit this again. Tennessee Titans versus Arizona Cardinals. Team comparison. The Tennessee Titans are still looking for their first win of the season. Their offense has been one of the worst in the league, and struggling badly to protect the quarterback, already giving up 17 sacks.
Damn!
Rookie QB Cam Ward has had a rough start, throwing only 2 touchdowns and ranking at the bottom of the league in QB rating. Arizona hasn't been explosive either, averaging 20.5 points per game, but their defense and ground game have kept them competitive. With James Conner and Trey Benson sidelined, the Cardinals have leaned on depth in the backfield, and they're still managing to put up just enough to stay in games. Spread, Cardinals -7.5. The Cardinals are heavy home favorites. With Tennessee's offense stuck in neutral, it's hard to back them. I'll lean Arizona -7.5. Total, under 40, 1.5. Neither team is scoring much. Tennessee is dead last in offense, and Arizona has only gone over 20 points once. This sets up for a low-scoring game. Moneyline, Cardinals. Arizona should get the job done at home against a Titans team that has yet to figure out how to win. Player prop suggestions. Marvin Harrison, over 4.5 receptions. He's been a reliable target, including a 6-catch game against Seattle. With consistent volume, I like him to hit 5+ catches. Cam Ward, under 177.5 passing yards. The Titans' offensive line hasn't given him time, and he struggled to push the ball downfield. Against Arizona, I'm going under his passing yard total. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Seattle Seahawks. Team comparison. The Seattle Seahawks are sitting at 3-1 and have rattled off 3 straight wins coming into this matchup. They'll have the home field edge at Lumen Field, where the crowd noise is always a factor. Sam Darnold has been steady enough, leaning on a balanced offense and a defense that has held opponents in check when it matters. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are also 3-1, but they come in after their first loss of the season. Baker Mayfield has been sharp, throwing 8 touchdowns to just 1 interception while also adding some yards on the ground. Tampa Bay's defense has been physical, but they've given up their share of big plays, which is a concern going against Seattle's playmakers. This sets up as a real test. Both teams have proven they can win ugly or explosive, but only one walks out at 4-1. Spread. Seahawks -3.5. Seattle is favored at home by a field goal and a hook. With 3 straight wins and the energy of Lumen Field, the books are leaning toward the Seahawks covering. Tampa has been tough, but this number says odds makers trust Seattle's consistency. Total over 44.5. Both teams have the weapons to put points on the board. Seattle can strike downfield, and Baker has been spreading the ball effectively. With neither defense being airtight, the game has the feel of one that can push into the high 40s. Moneyline. Seahawks. It's close on paper, but Seattle at home is a tough fade. The Seahawks have been taking care of business, and odds makers are backing them straight up. Buccaneers are live underdogs, but the lean is Seattle to keep rolling. Player prop suggestions. Kenneth Walker III, over 47.5 rushing yards. Walker's coming off an 81-yard game and has been a steady part of the ground game. Even if Seattle mixes it up, he gets enough touches to clear this line. Baker Mayfield, over 17.5 rushing yards. Baker has quietly added with his legs this season, going over this number in multiple games. Against a defense that pressures the pocket, expect him to scramble enough to push past 17. Detroit Lions versus Cincinnati Bengals. Team comparison. The Detroit Lions enter this matchup at 3-1, looking like one of the most balanced teams in the NFC. Their defense, led by Aiden Hutchinson, ranks among the league's best in pressure rate, and their offense has been steady with a physical run game. Running back David Montgomery has excelled after contact, and the Cincinnati defense has struggled with missed tackles, which is a dangerous combination. The Cincinnati Bengals, on the other hand, are in a tough spot without Joe Burrow. Backup quarterback Jake Browning has had a rough stretch, throwing for just 140 yards in a blowout loss to the Minnesota Vikings and 125 yards in another lopsided loss to the Denver Broncos. He's been sacked 3 times in each of those games, and both of Cincinnati's starting tackles rank near the bottom of the league in pressure allowed. The Bengals have lost 2 straight, and their offense looks stuck. This matchup pits a Detroit team trending upward against a Cincinnati team still searching for answers. Spread. Detroit Lions -9.5. The Detroit Lions are nearly double-digit road favorites, and given the Bengals' offensive struggles, the line makes sense. Detroit's defense should dominate the trenches. Total, under 49.5. The Cincinnati Bengals haven't shown much offensive life without Joe Burrow, averaging just 6.5 points per game over the last 2 weeks. The Detroit Lions should score, but without a competitive push from Cincinnati, the total leans under. Moneyline, Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are heavy favorites for good reason. The Cincinnati Bengals offense simply hasn't been able to keep up against quality defenses, and Detroit looks primed to leave Cincinnati with a decisive win. Player prop suggestions. Jahmyr Gibbs, anytime touchdown. Gibbs has scored in back-to-back games and continues to be a dangerous weapon in the red zone. Against the Bengals defense that ranks near the bottom in missed tackles, he's got a strong chance to find the end zone again. Jake Browning, under 216.5 passing yards. Browning has failed to reach this mark in either of his last 2 starts, throwing for just 140 yards against Minnesota and 125 yards against Denver. Under pressure, he's looked shaky, and facing Detroit's defense, the under feels right. Washington Commanders versus Los Angeles Chargers. Team comparison. The Washington Commanders come in at 2-2 and are expected to get Jaden Daniels back under center after missing time. That's big news, but it's still a tough matchup. Daniels had a historic rookie season, but his first 2 starts this year looked more like a step back, and now he has to face a strong Chargers defense on the road. The Los Angeles Chargers enter at 3-1, but are coming off a humbling Week 4 loss to the New York Giants. Even with that setback, this is a well-rounded team. Rookie running back Omarion Hampton exploded for 128 rushing yards and added 37 through the air against New York. On defense, the Chargers are physical, and at home, they have a strong chance to bounce back against the Washington team still finding its footing. Spread: Chargers -2.5. The Los Angeles Chargers are small home favorites, and the number has held steady all week. With Jaden Daniels easing back into action, I lean towards the Chargers covering the -2.5 at home. Total: under 46.5. The total opened at 47.5 and ticked up slightly, but this sets up as a lower scoring battle. Washington's offense may not be firing on all cylinders with Daniels returning, and the Chargers' defense has been consistent. I'll lean under 46.5. Moneyline: Chargers. At home, and with their defense playing at a high level, the Los Angeles Chargers are the pick on the moneyline. Washington has been scrappy, but I trust Los Angeles more in this spot. Player prop suggestions: Deebo Samuel over 5.5 receptions. Samuel has been a reliable target with multiple games of 6+ catches already this season. Against a defense that forces short throws, I like him to clear this receptions number. Keenan Allen over 51.5 receiving yards. Allen remains Justin Herbert's go-to option. He's cleared this number in 3 of 4 games and continues to rack up consistent yardage. Against Washington, his volume should make this a strong play. New England Patriots versus Buffalo Bills. Team comparison: the New England Patriots come in at 2-2 after a dominant 42-13 win over the Carolina Panthers. Rookie quarterback Drake May looks sharp, throwing 2 touchdowns with no interceptions while the defense held firm. New England's secondary has been boosted by Christian Gonzalez's return, and their run defense has been one of the best in the league, allowing just 77.5 yards per game. If Ramondre Stevenson and Trevayon Henderson can get the ground game going, it will give May the balance he needs to attack Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills are 4-0 and one of only 2 undefeated teams remaining. Josh Allen continues to power the offense, and Allen himself has had consistent success against the Patriots throughout his career. Buffalo is tough to beat at Highmark Stadium, and with momentum on their side, they're a heavy favorite heading into this divisional matchup. Spread: Bills -8.5. Buffalo is favored by more than a touchdown. The Patriots have shown they can hang around in this rivalry, covering both meetings last season, but with the Bills rolling on both sides of the ball, I lean Buffalo -8.5. Total: over 49.5. Both teams are coming off high-scoring wins, and Buffalo has scored at least 31 points in 3 of 4 games. New England's offense looked alive with May in Week 4, and if they can keep up even a little, this game has a good chance to hit the over 49.5. Moneyline: Bills. The Bills are heavy home favorites for a reason. With their offense firing and their defense strong against the pass, I'll back Buffalo straight up. Player prop suggestions: Josh Allen over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Allen has been in rhythm, tossing multiple touchdown passes in 3 of 4 games. Against New England, a team he's had plenty of success against, I like him to clear this mark again. Stephon Diggs over 4.5 receptions. Facing his former teammate, Diggs should be motivated to make a statement. He's averaging nearly 6 catches per game this season, and the Patriots will have a hard time limiting him for 4 quarters. Thank you for watching. Please make sure you subscribe, give this video a like, and always comment. I'll see you guys in the next game.